It is rightly said, the more employment you provide in your nation, the more economic growth prospects will improve. Keeping this thing in mind, government launched VBG Ramji Act and it was enforced from 1st July 2026. Now, what all this act is, what are its key provision, how it is different from MGNREGA, we will discuss these things in detail. And I'll assure you one thing, if you complete this video till last, you will get a complete insight of VBG Ramji Act, and this will be very useful for prelims as well as for mains exam. So let's start the video. First of all, Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Grameen. That's the full form of this particular act. It replaced MGNREGA Act and it came into effect from 1st July 2026. Now, whenever any act whenever any act is introduced, or whenever government replace any previous act by some new act, there must be a key core objectives behind that. Now, these key core objectives are the foundation of this particular act. What are these key provisions or key objectives? The first is that to improve rural employment. We all knew this fact that majority of Indians still live in the in rural areas, and there is a huge demand of huge need for creating employment opportunities for them. So the first thing is to create rural employment. Second, not only creating the rural employment but also providing them livelihood security, that is very much essential, because without a kind of security or without a kind of stable environment, it always create a mental stress regarding the uncertainty in this competitive world. Third important thing is asset creation, that is creating assets for the economy as well as creating the financials for the households also. And lastly, sustainable rural development, because it is very much essential. If we are focusing on developing few cities of India, we will have a good GDP numbers, but it will not lead to more egalitarian society. Hence, to create this egalitarian society and to reduce this inequality, it is important that we should have a sustainable rural development. These all things will lead to Viksit Bharat 2047. That's our ultimate dream. Now, the first important point of this act is to provide 125 days of guaranteed wage employment in a financial year to every rural household whose adult member volunteer to undertake unskilled manual work. This is the first point of difference between this act and MGNREGA. MGNREGA guarantees 100 days of employment, but here we are saying 125 days of guaranteed wage employment in a financial year to every rural household whose adult member volunteer to undertake unskilled manual work. Now, the second point is very, very important. It mandates timely wage payment within 15 days of completion of work. Now, this is very, very important point. That means there must be a timely wage payment within 15 days of completion of work. Now, a prelims question or in this mains question, you need to specifically mention about the funding pattern. The funding pattern is very much clear: 60% by center and 40% by states, 90:10 for northeastern and Himalayan states, and those union territories which do not have legislatures, they have complete 100% funding from center. Now friends, this particular point, that is 60-day agricultural pause, is the what I can say is the most crucial point of this VBG Ramji Act. Usually what happened when the MGNREGA was there in the practice, the maximum laborers are engaged in MGNREGA work. As a result of that, when there is a huge demand during peak agricultural season or harvesting season, labor is not available or labor become very costly. Hence, to avoid that practice, government says that state government can notify a combined 60-day no work period during peak sowing and harvesting season to prevent agricultural labor shortage, while ensuring workers still receive 125 days of employment during the remaining part of the year. This is the very important point, because during when MGNREGA was there, majority of the people or the labor, they are trying to get more of MGNREGA work. Hence, as a result of that, they are not able to contribute in agricultural sowing or harvesting season. So this point is very important, that there is a 60-day pause period, that all the labor should be available during agriculture sowing or harvesting time period, and it is ensured that whenever they are engaged for this 60 days period, their overall 125 days of guaranteed wage employment should not suffer. Moving ahead, the next important point is, just a second. Yeah, the next important point is decentralized and spatial planning. The act mandate preparation of Viksit Gram Panchayat plan using spatial technologies such as Yukt Dhara portal and integration with national planning platform like PM Gati Shakti. What is the core objective behind that? Even when Gati Shakti was introduced, the core objective is to create a coordination and synchronization among the ministries that are involved in infrastructure. So here also the first thing is decentralized. That means the plan should be made in a decentralized manner, so that specialization we should get a specialized things for everything. And the second point is spatial planning, which talk about using of spatial technology like Yukt Dhara portal and integrate it with PM Gati Shakti, so that there should not be any delays, there should not be any wastage of resource, and we should have a proper synchronization and coordination. Then top-down allocation. Center determined devolution. VBG Ramji reverses the MGNREGA model, where central allocation were based on state submitted labor budget demand driven. Now, the approach is clear here, that center determine the normative allocation to each state, making the resource allocation process top down rather than demand driven. Earlier what used to happen is states submit their labor budgets that are demand driven. Now, if the demand driven, if the demands are more but center is not able to fulfill that, then it creates problem, or the shortage may be there. But here the objective is clear, that the center determine the normative allocation to each state, making the resource allocation process top down rather than demand driven. This gives center greater control over fund flows but reduce states' ability to respond to fluctuating local demand. We have a two-side factor here. First thing is that central will have a better control over resources, because here whatever the fund flow is there, the center had a greater control. But also it reduces states' ability to respond to fluctuating local demand. Earlier what happened in MGNREGA times, whenever the state demands that we need more of this work in our state, we need, the demand driven factor is majorly more important at that time. But now here the center is becoming more powerful regarding to the fund flows and regarding to what kind of, how the fund should be allocated for a specific work. Then the next point is all the direct benefit transfers will be made in bank or post office account, so to improve transparency and reduces leakages. This is very important. The objective here is to link it with Jan Dhan Aadhaar, to promote more financial inclusion, and hence whatever the amount is being paid, that should be made directly into their bank account or post office account, promoting direct benefit transfer. Moving ahead, let's discuss a very important thing. If you want to opt sociology as an optional, we have a sociology optional batch that is in Hindi medium starting from 28th of July by Shankar Singh sir. The offer fees is 6,999 and it's a Hindi medium batch for sociology optional. So if any of you want to take sociology as an optional and you want that to be in Hindi medium, you can enroll in that. The batch will be starting from 28th of July, and for further details you can call on this number to get more detailed information. Now, how is government is preparing themselves for this VBG Ramji Act? It's very important. It is mentioned in PIB also. That's why this news is very, very important. First, center and states have completed all administrative preparations regarding to that. Technical system are fully operational so that there should not be any delay in crediting the wages. Then financial arrangements have been finalized so that at the end there should not be any kind of hiccups. Then, how is financial allocation? Interim allocation of rupees 95,692.31 crore released to states and union territories with the purpose of having timely wage payment. Now, this is very, very important. This act focuses a lot on timely wage payment. So, they have make a proper financial allocations so that there should not be any delay in crediting of salary. Second is seamless implementation. Earlier we always say this thing, that what is the biggest problem in Indian scheme mechanism? We announce the scheme with great pomp and show, but the problem is execution delays. Now, to have the better execution scenarios, we want that the seamless implementation should be there. Now, government should prioritize on continuous employment, timely wage payment, smooth implementation, and strengthening rural livelihoods. These 4 points are the most important things, because it specifically tell how the government is so much considering this particular act. Now, to ensure uninterrupted implementation, there are many doubts regarding to that. That these many of the people have this kind of doubt that existing project will continue or not. So, existing project is continued without any interruption. Even existing KYC verified job cards will remain valid. Then these existing cards will remain operational until new Grameen Rozgar Guarantee cards are issued. So if you have existing card with proper KYC, no problem in that. If any existing work is going on, it will still be continued. So no need to be get worried about it. Then the act places Gram Panchayat at the center of rural development. This can be asked in prelims. Might be they will ask a question. The Gram Panchayat's role is diluted under this VBG Ramji Act, but the most important point is it keep Gram Panchayat at the center of rural development. So what are the major focus area? That is durable asset creation, which is used for long term. Then natural resource management, water conservation, very important, because these are fulfilling the SDG, sustainable development goals also. Agriculture and allied activities to enhance its contribution in overall GDP. Rural infrastructure development, because infrastructure is the key for economic development. Women empowerment, so that the proper gender equality should be taken care of, and India's overall focus is also to keep parity between both the genders through self-help group. Convergence with flagship rural development program, that it should be in synchronize with that, in coordination with that. It should not be overlapping, or it should not create any problem for existing schemes. And the most important thing is that technology enabled transparent governance, so that everything should be clear cut, everything should be transparent, everything should be in that sense that it should be viable, and people are not getting confused from it. Then expected outcomes. What are the expected outcome? The first thing is strengthening village economies. The better the village economies is, the better we will be getting closer to being a developed nation by 2047, because still majority of our population live in the village areas. Then sustainable livelihood, creating not only a temporary livelihoods but a long-term sustainable livelihoods, so that people should have more security regarding to their overall living being. Improve quality of life in rural areas. We also want to improve the standard of living in rural areas, so that even the inequalities that persist between the cities and the rural areas should get narrowed down. Then promote participatory planning, more of participatory planning, so that it will enhance the confidence, and we also get to know like what all problems the village people are facing at the ground level. Then build resilient and self-reliant rural communities, so that they will get more empowered, they will get more strengthened, and no one should be left behind. Everyone should feel that I am important for being the part, and I should be responsible for the overall development, and together we can make our village developed village. Then what is the role of Gram Panchayat? That is to plan the development work, how the development work will go on. Then they also identify the beneficiaries, so that the ghost beneficiaries should be removed from it, and the actual beneficiary should get the benefits. Then asset creation, the most important part. Again, we are saying it that we are focusing more on creating capital expenditure here, rather than creating the focusing on revenue expenditure. Monitoring the implementation. Now this is the area where we are always being Indian states or Indian schemes being criticized. They had launched the scheme, They implemented it. Now they are not monitoring it properly. So lots of wastage, no optimum utilization of resource. So here the important part is whatever the program you are implementing, keep monitoring it, keep figuring out where are the deviations, correct those deviations. And lastly, ensure transparency and accountability so that every person should know for what is expected from them, for what all they are liable for. Now, this is very important. What is the difference between MGNREGA and Viksit Bharat Ji Ramji Act? It can be asked in prelims exam also. MGNREGA, we have 100 days of wage employment. In Viksit Bharat Ji Ramji Act, we have 125 days of employment. Here are multiple and scattered categories. There are multiple categories. Scattering is there. But here we have 4 clear defined priority areas focusing on water security. This is prelims. This can be asked in prelims. Like, which of the following are key priority areas under VBG Ramji Act? So these are water security first, rural infrastructure second, livelihood and climate resilience. These 4, please remember these 4 points. They are very, very important. Then center bear unskilled wage cost, state bear unemployment allowance. Here state cost sharing is 60-40. And for special category Northeast and Himalayan region, it is 90:10. No pause window. No pause window in MGNREGA. So the maximum of the labors are not available during peak harvesting or sowing season. Here 60 days pause period. Here there is demand based funding. Here it is normative funding. Gram Panchayat planning is central. Here institutionalized convergence and infrastructure planning is there. Now, what are the benefits of this particular act? First is it increases the days from 100 to 125. Faster wage payment within 15 days. Support for agriculture, for rural development, for during the peak agriculture season, harvesting and sowing stage. Focus on water security. That is again a very important component of sustainable development goal as well. And lastly, technological integration, that was to remove the ghost beneficiaries and corruption, that is through proper biometric authentication and AI enabled analytics. But there are some challenges. First is dilution of rights. Critics argued that shifting from a justifiable right to a schematic entitlement, here it actually fundamentally weakened the legal claim to work. Then it put more burden on states. The normative allocation makes centralization of power. Vulnerable workers, the 60-day seasonal pause, it may impact their employment, their livelihood also, because they will, if there is so many number of workers for harvesting and sowing, there is lack of working opportunities during that time, and exclusion errors might be there because illiteracy and digital divide still persist in our country. Now friends, attempt this question and mention in comment section what is the correct answer of this particular question. Okay, so this is the most important part. Mention in the comment what is the correct answer of this particular question. So, apart from that, we also have UPPCS prelims test series for 2026. It is in online offline medium both. Then it is in Hindi and English medium starting from 5th July. Total number of tests are 27, 15 sectional, 12 full length, 6 GS plus 6 CSAT. Offline fees is 24.99, online fees is 14.99. You can scan this QR to get registered over there, and if you have any kind of doubt, you can call on this number for further details. So I hope you get a clear insight of VBG Ramji Act. If you had any doubt, please mention in the comment, and if you really like this video, please share it with your friends and in your groups also. Thank you and take care.